Okay, this is that motor out of that CL72. They pulled it out because it's got very bad compression on one cylinder. He actually had it running on one cylinder, but the other one, there's nothing there. So it's got to be either a blown piston or a stuck valve. But what I was saying about exhaust pipes, you know, those are the CL, the Moe Scrambler exhaust pipes that are worth more than the rest of the bike. But it's funny because after I did that last video, I had a phone call from my brother. He had just got back from, he had been at a swap meet. And he brought this back. Now this is a great bike. It's a CB450. But this thing is nice. This thing has got great potential. And it's complete. Well, even got sissy bar and luggage rack. But they had such poor chrome, you know, on those accessory parts. So I think that's all going to come off of there. Though I might be able to modify that luggage rack to fit on something else, because it really don't fit on here. And these things are, these sissy bars are nothing but a pain in the ass. I haven't seen one of them for a long time, though they used to be common. Now, like I say, this one is complete in that it's got side covers. The tank looks good. You know, because even like these little Honda emblems can cost you a fortune, you know, to get the original ones. So this is a good, damn good bike. Exhaust rotted out, you know, which is typical of the low exhaust. But fairly standard, you can get an aftermarket muffler that will work fine on these. You know, the downpipes are good. Boy, she is complete though. Yeah, I see the Speedo's got a little nip out of it. Tack ain't much better, but I think I actually have some off another bike that might fit on there. But I tell you, these 450s with this dual overhead cam, they were at the time Honda's big bike, and they are a brute. They're a pain in the ass to work on because that's a complex motor, you know, with the twin cams, but just a powerhouse. Kind of fun. I always wanted to get a 450 Scrambler, you know, that had the up pipes. But great to see, you know, this is back when you still used metal for the side covers, none of that plastic stuff. And this one had the title, which can be a problem on some of the older bikes. Oh, no, this one is he's a fixer-upper. But she turns over. Oh, yeah. That's great. And I like, okay, this is when Honda was starting to get their act together style-wise. You know, they still got the chrome panels on the side, but the shape of the tank, you know, you get a little older than that, and they had this shape of a tank that looks kind of backwards. These are just a classic look. Yeah, that's a great bike. Now here's a true test. By God, she's got the tools in the toolbox. You know, it's funny too, because you could do a lot with the tools that came with the Honda bikes. That was everything you needed, which was good because at the time you couldn't go out and buy a set of metric wrenches. Yeah, I like that. Well worth fixing up. And I think he paid $8 something for this one. But well worth it. You know, it was back even when they had, you know, the steering damper, you can tighten her down so you don't get a shimmy going on you. Well, 10,000 miles on the clock. Yeah, I like that. Oh yeah. He was saying he picked up, oh okay, he did get the right, because for this, the CO72, somebody has changed the bars. Well, there's a problem. The original bars, the wires ran inside the bars. And these replacement bars that he found at the swap meet for 20 bucks are the original CO72 that got the bars, you know, they're cut out for the wiring. Yeah, somebody nipped the wires off on this one, but I think we can make it work. Yeah, good to have them. Because those bars that are on there, that's all wrong. And then you got, you know, wires hanging out in the middle of nowhere, all taped up. But I know, you know, he was hoping kind of that this would be a 305 when he was bidding on it, but there was no way of knowing. You know, like I say, the guy didn't know about it and didn't really care. The guy selling it was just a farmer. But 250 I think is a bit rarer. But he wanted a 305 in that he used to have a 305. I used to have a 305, you know, the Scrambler. They're a nice bike. They've got their quirks, but they're a nice bike, and they've got to be crazy priced now. You know, you find them once in a while, but you really have to pay for them. But I really don't run across 450s. So I'll have to be looking on eBay, see if I can't find, you know, if I could find, this muffler appears to be good on this side, the other one is rotted out. If I could find the stock mufflers, you know, they're big ugly mufflers, but if you can keep it stock, you keep it stock. Yeah, that's a nice bike. And that must be 68 or 69, I'm guessing. But back then, Honda did a weird deal where the year that it was sold was the year that it was. You know, I mean, they could sit on a bike for 2 years sitting in the showroom, but when they sold it, that was the year that the bike was. You know, they had to change that later. But like I say, it is nice that it's got the really nice shaped tank to it. And the seat needs to be recovered, but if you got a good seat pan, you know, for like 50 bucks you can buy a new cover and make them like new. So that's not a big deal. Because just if you get a good pan, you know, and if the foam is good, that's a plus. But then you got something to work with. But these are, you know, back when they were running a vacuum operated throttle, you know, they work. I had on a 650 Yamaha, I used to have them. You got to learn to kind of work around them. You know, kind of give it a blip when you take off. Yeah, she's pretty original. Well worth fixing up. Be a hell of a bike. Like I said, this was Honda's big machine, man. But it's that right in between when they went from that weird old style tank to the newer shaped tank. Because there are 450s that have that weird tank. She even got blinkers on, and must have had a windshield or a fairing at one time. Boy, this had to be right before I started working at Honda, because when I started working at a Honda shop, they were just coming out with the 500, the 4-cylinder. But before that, this was king of the Hondas. And I was always impressed with the, like I said, those 450 scramblers, because they weren't quite as heavy as the CB, and just a torquey powerhouse of a bike. Yeah, I think that's well worth fixing. But see, that's where, again, like I say about scrappers, somebody could scrap this thing out. The tank is worth a fortune. The fenders are worth a fortune. You know, there's a lot of parts on that. Even just the side covers alone, you know, just, but it's so much nicer if you can fix them. But that's a good project. I would have been, it would have bugged me if I'd have seen it. I'd have been awfully tempted. Well, I'd have had it done. So I'm really kind of into the Yamahas more, but this is a very nice style for a very nice bike. But those mufflers, that is always a problem on these old Hondas. You know, the condensation built up in them and they just rotted out. I'm surprised the other one is so good. But you never know. You know, you luck out sometimes and you can find an original. But like I said, there's aftermarket ones that would be no problem putting on there. It just, if you can keep it original, that's the way to go. Yeah, I'm jealous. He got a hell of a nice bike here.